Okay, hello from our studios in Los Angeles and Tampa. This is Green Tag Theme Park in 30. I'm Philip from Gantom Lighting and Controls, and I'm joined as always by my delightful co-host Scott Swenson of Scott Swenson Creative Development. On Green Tag, we look at the top news each week, and we try and pick the stories we think from everything that matter the most to theme park professionals. We have a little bit of discussion around them. And this week, we are turning back to Six Flags because there's a Nugget fiasco, and in a broader picture, buried by the Nuggets, there is a lot of movement going on the board of directors and the new CFO there at the park. And we'll see if we get to more stories beyond that, maybe even some more sauces to add to our little pile of nuggets here. I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know. We need more. Yeah, we need a little more sauce for the Nuggets.
I love sauce on my nuggets. I don't know. That was weird.
Here we are at Nugget Gate. You know, this is
Nugget Gate. Yes. Oh, that's going to be the title. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, you think this is all planned out, kids. Nope. Philip does the notes, but then we make stuff up.
Yes.
So anyway, Philip, give us a sort of if for those of you who have not heard about this, where the hell have you been? But for those of you who have not heard about this, Philip, give us a little background on the illustrious Nugget Gate, as we will now be calling it the rest of the show.
Yes, let me take you down the Nugget Gate rabbit hole. And I really do, now that you've mentioned it about Nugget Gate, I do think parts of this story are not real. So I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy. But anyway, so on May 19th, the content creator, Alan Farrell, who is known online for his rage bait content. I wouldn't quite call it rage bait content. I'm reading here from the People article. I wouldn't quite call it rage bait. But anyway, he posted a video to Instagram of him eating a 10-piece box of chicken nuggets while at the top of Millennium Force roller coaster in violation of the park's safety policy banning loose items on most rides. In a statement to People, a spokesperson for the amusement park said that Farrell had been banned for life from all Six Flags parks. And they continued to say that person, whoever they got to say this, said, safety is a cornerstone of our business and we have zero tolerance for inappropriate and unsafe behavior. Our ride safety strictly prohibits all loose articles on rides, including food, which can become a choking hazard. Yes. Safety is a partnership between our guests and the park, and guests must follow all written and verbal instructions, blah, blah, blah. So later, to a separate outlet, so this is 3 News separately, the spokesperson was revealed as Tony Clark, who is one of the PR people who's in charge of that region. And so I don't know if the first one was him or not, but Tony Clark went on to say the same thing, that he's been banned from everything and the safety is a cornerstone and we have zero tolerance for inappropriate, unsafe behavior. So I just want to note a few things here. I thought, I'm almost ashamed to say that I thought this video was hilarious. It's a hilarious video. And I'm not really sure it qualifies as rage bait, actually, because to me, this guy is a very popular YouTuber, 1.8 million subscribers on YouTube, and his content is more about accepting challenges or dares from his audience. And that's how this came to be. So it was like a dare that was like, basically all it was eat chicken nuggets on a roller coaster. And he was like, are you crazy? And then, it cuts to the whole thing. And it's a really well done video. It has a story to it. You have a challenge, you have a story, there's a setup, there's a scene, there's a climax, it's really scripted like a story. And I thought it was a hilarious video, especially in the middle where what he basically does is he shoves the box of chicken nuggets into his pants, and that's how he gets through security with it and on the ride. And then they put the lap bar in and he's patting, he's like, okay, good. And then he while he's on the ride, he just pulls them out of his underwear basically and starts eating them. And his friend has sauce. And the best part is in the middle where he's trying to put sauce on the chicken nugget while on the roller coaster, but the sauce is just hitting him in the face because of the G-force. And so he's just covered in sauce. And then he's taking his shirt and he's wiping his face off. It's a whole thing. And then he docks back in the station and people are commenting. They're like, is that a chicken nugget? It's got this whole thing going on to it. And I want to point out the reason I think this is Nugget Gate basically is because a few things here. I think it's, he's a known influencer. I'm sure Six Flags knows who he is at, almost 2 million. He goes to their parks on a regular basis. The check-in station that he was at was not like a regular front desk. It looked like he was there for some sort of a media type of thing. And then also, This is not the first video that he has done eating food on roller coasters. And I think a lot of mainstream media miss that. But of course, what I do is I look back through all of his videos to kind of get a sense of it. And he's done other videos like this before. This is not the first time he's eaten a burger on a roller coaster. He's done the same thing before, right? So I think, to me, it's a little bit of Nugget Gate in that I feel like in some way he was invited by somehow the park knew, or he was invited in some way. And I think the problem more came in the reaction to him, breaking the rules and basically being, making money for breaking rules. And I think it more comes back to what we talked about, where Six Flags has a branding problem, and they're trying to make it seem like they're safe for families, right? Like, they don't want to be seen as the teen takeover place. They want to be seen as a place where you can bring your whole family and spend money. And so I think part of that narrative is kind of like publicly cracking down, because the YouTuber released comments to all these people and he doesn't really care. Or my sense is that he didn't really care. I think he did give a statement. I don't have it here, but he gave a statement to one magazine, and he was like, I didn't think eating chicken nuggets would become international news. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. I didn't think it would become international news. And, people got to be safe. I respect that. And that's it. So he doesn't really care. So I kind of think Six Flags might need him more than he needs them. Or I don't, or the other way. I don't know. I don't know, Scott. What do you think?
Well, I can hardly say that. I mean, you said you enjoyed the video. I have a different.
You didn't watch? Did you watch it? Did you watch the video?
Not watched it. I have no interest in watching it. I couldn't care less.
I just think it's funny.
I think it's dumb.
Well, that's true. I mean, sometimes dumb things are funny.
This is idiocracy in its finest level. I mean, what's next? Are we going to do like a wrestling match at the White House? But it is just sheer stupidity. We've gone to the point now where entertainment is trying to watch somebody eat food on a roller coaster.
Yeah, so there was a Black Mirror episode about this, actually. And it's very similar, where it's like, there's a website where people are getting paid to do dares.
To do dumbass things. Yes.
It is quite literally, he is literally getting paid to do dares.
And to endanger himself and those people around him.
Yeah, that's the part. So that's the part. Now, I think we could split all this out.
That is the issue. That is the issue.
That is the issue. Is the way that he did it was unsafe, because, even a nugget at that velocity being pitched at somebody could cause damage. Choking hazard. I mean, it definitely is a choking hazard when you're trying to put sauce on it and get a nugget in while you're going around.
And if he or anybody else had been injured, he would not have been held liable. It would have been the park.
Yep. That's right.
So I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like the old fart who's like, get off my lawn. But the bottom line is, this is just dumb. I mean,
no, you're right. You're right.
Did they overreact in banning him from all parks for the rest of his life? Well, first off, how are they going to implement that?
That's right. Well, so that's the thing. I can hold both things in my brain. Me as like just a content creator / human, I could be like, I could appreciate the video. Like, oh, this is going to perform well. It's funny. It's interesting. He scripted it well.
But that's what's terrifying to me, that this is going to perform well. You could have a classically trained opera singer who does the most impeccable aria in the world, and the dumbass who's trying to eat chicken nuggets on a roller coaster is going to perform better.
Yeah,
and I know that. That's what I think. That
right with when they used to do those violinist tests, in the subway, where you used to have the master artist would go and perform in New York subways, and no one knew who they were, and they would not even pay attention.
Right. I mean, that's what's saddest to me. And again, I've known way too many people who have been let me sneak into the abandoned, closed off part of a theme park and shoot video. Yep. Let me do something that I'm clearly not supposed to do, that I have to, sneak in to do it. Let me be the bad boy, bad girl, bad person, just to capture content. I don't know. When did eating chicken nuggets become entertainment? I don't get it. I don't like it. I think that it's possible that, and I know there's going to be tons of people who are going to be like, Scott, lighten up, which is fine.
Well, but I think what you're saying, I agree with, which is, I agree with both things. Like, I, as an artist, as a person that creates content, and I can appreciate, that this is going to perform well because I've been trained to know what does well. I can also, on the flip side, acknowledge this is a safety problem. Like there's no way around it. Is that he could have chosen.
Stop. If someone dares him, jump off the Burj Khalifa and film it. If someone dared you to do that, first of all, that's really difficult to do. But if someone dared you to do it and you ended up killing yourself, but it performed well, I mean, that's not a justification.
Yeah, I think the
cut off your little finger.
Oh, I agree about all this. I guess the reason I think it's more of a Nugget Gate problem is because this could be me. I could be reading too much into it from a paranoia standpoint, but just from the way the video started off, like he's not going through a ticket gate or anything. It looks like he's talking to like an individual. Anyway, I have a suspicion that he might have been invited by the park or in some way gotten a ticket or doing something.
But even if that's the case, I don't think the park had any idea this is what he was going to do.
Okay. This is where I think the most interesting discussion is, just from my background as a PR and a person who thinks about this a lot. He has done this before. Any person who is approving his media credentials should have looked at his channel and seen that he has previously eaten stuff on roller coasters.
Well, we've already talked about the challenges that we're having with getting qualified people in these working in theme parks. So
he even tells the staff that is checking him in. He says, "I certainly do not have a box of chicken nuggets stuffed in my underwear." He literally says that to the staff member that is checking his ticket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because that makes for good content.
Sure.
Hey, look what a badass he is. He just told him. Really?
Well, I know, but I guess I'm just saying, like, I'm not blaming the park at all. I'm just kind of being like, this is this just underlines the kind of impossible positions that a lot of the attractions are under nowadays, where on the one hand, you're like, we have influencers, we're trying to get into the park and all this stuff, and he has a lot of big following, but then you need to actually look at the type of content they're doing. And to your point, there's no way for them to really have policed it. Like they, unless you're going to put them under a contract and be like, you're not allowed to do this type of content or whatever. But that's a lot of more work. I mean, you can do that. It's possible to put influencers under agreements about the type of content.
You're not allowed to break any of the park rules?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think that would be a great way to do it. Yeah. But I think it's more likely that he just got tickets, comp tickets, or some sort of thing like that.
Oh, he didn't pay to get in there. No, he contacted. I mean, my guess is, because he is a successful influencer, he picked up the phone, he called the PR person, said, "Hey, I want to come to the park."
Yep, and they just gave him free tickets, and then they didn't know what he was going to do.
Tickets, and he says, "I just want to shoot content." They never thought he was going to do anything this stupid.
Yeah. Now, on the response,
because I just want you all to know right now, I do not have a box of chicken nuggets in my pants either.
But to your point about how it could escalate, I mean, you could see it escalating where people later could have said, "Okay, well, now drop something from a roller coaster, deliberately," and he could have hidden the same type of thing, and it could have hit somebody. So he could have dropped the nugget, and it actually could have hurt somebody on the ground or choked himself. So there's that. But then, aside from that, I actually do think the park's reaction was correct.
I agree.
I agree. I actually think the only choice they had in this instance was actually to do the ban. And that's because otherwise they're never going to get out of this narrative of Six Flags is dangerous to families.
Right.
You have to like draw a line in the sand. You have to put consequences. I think it also helps the rest of us for attractions. Like basically, like hopefully now, if he's trying to get tickets to Disney or to Universal or to another place, that somebody will like Google his name and see this ban and be like, maybe we shouldn't give him tickets, or maybe we should tell him if he's going to come here, we're going to give him some money, and in exchange for giving him money, he's going to not violate rules, and he's just going to make a regular video that's not dangerous.
In order to get comp tickets, he will not violate rules, and he'll be escorted throughout the park.
Yeah, that's right.
Done. Yeah. But you know what? That's older than I am. That practice goes back to when I was still working in the parks. That was very common. And it's gotten to the point now where the parks either have become, it could be one of two things. They've become so reliant on content creators to get their name out there.
Yep.
Or they simply don't have the staff to do this kind of thing. And both of these things are very possible. again,
they're like at Magic Mountain, not to like keep, but I mean, like, this is a big frustration for me because of the role I usually play in some of this. I think that for some reason, whatever reason, marketers in this space have a difficult time differentiating between working media and influencers, and that they also think that because that the rules of old media apply to influencers, and they do not. Like,
right.
as a journalist, or when I'm representing a place, I have a lot of code of ethics that I have to abide by that influencers do not have. And even if they are cosplaying journalists, they don't have to follow the rules. They've never even been trained to do them. They're just entertainers. They're just entertainers. That's all they are. And that's a big distinction. And the last several events that I have gone to at Magic Mountain, they consolidate. Remember when they consolidated all their teams?
Right.
So they only have one PR person over multiple parks who isn't even there at the park. Right. So there's nobody. Right. So when they have their media check-ins, they just send you your badge digitally, and you never even see anybody the entire time you're there. You just get your media ticket and go in, and you don't even talk to a media person.
Yeah, it used to be that the worst thing we would worry about were the morning shock jocks on the radio.
Right.
Right. But again, we as a park developed ways to sidestep or curb that. And when it comes to content creation, back when I was doing media, and again, this is only 12 to 15 years ago, but things have changed so dramatically since then. But back, 12 years ago, what we would do is instead of just randomly giving content creators free reign of the park to break any and all of our park rules and, jump in. And again, Busch Gardens being a zoo, and I am shocked and amazed that we haven't had more people break into animal habitats at the park.
Yep.
I'm flabbergasted because again, that'd make for really good content.
Yep.
But the idea was we would create scenarios that were only available to them.
Yep.
That we could control.
Right.
That weren't breaking any of our rules.
Yeah, but that's hard work, Scott. Scott, that's actually
I did it. I know, I did it. And that's my point, it is hard work. And since it's not just, since the number of content creators, and anybody can claim they're a content creator now, but since the number of content creators, yes, it is hard work. But it's, if you weigh hard work versus safety of your guests, safety of your employees, and even safety of the content creators, I'd vote for hard work. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's one of the, I'm thinking of specific examples. We had embedded reporters. We had reporters. Now, this was actual media. This was not content creators, but they were kind of doing the same thing. Who would, for Howl-O-Scream, for example, get into makeup, go and perform in the haunts, get video of themselves scaring the crap out of people in the haunted attractions. It was, and it was great coverage.
Yep.
It was great coverage. But, perhaps it's time to rein that back in a little bit. Perhaps it's time to take control of the narrative a little bit more, because if every park were to say, hey, if we find that you have posted content where you have broken the rules of our park, then we're going to ban you.
Right.
Then we're going to get fewer and then the content creators are going to say, fine, then my 2 million followers won't know about you, blah, 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 blah. Great. But what you then do is you go to another content creator who has not broken the rules, and you say, now we're going to give you such exclusive access that you're going to get to see things that our rule breaker content creator will never get to see, never get the opportunity to share with their followers. You're right. It does take work. When you just say, run free in our park with a camera, that's what you get. So I agree with you 100%. It is hard work. It is hard work. And if you don't want to deal with this kind of outcome, that's why it didn't happen back then. Partially because the news media, as you mentioned, does have to follow, or is expected to follow, a certain sense of decorum. But I'll tell you, radio DJs never did.
Yeah.
Radio DJs never did.
Well, the one thing I have noticed in the decorum and in that, basically what I noticed is basically that I think that the attractions were kind of swayed by views. They kind of were like, oh, like they kind of allured or whatever you want to call it. We've all been there. We're like, oh, this is great. It must. But the thing I always remind people of is that going to translate into ticket sales, or is it just people in India that are watching this, or in China or whatever?
I don't care how many the video got. How many tickets did it sell?
That's right. So I think there's that. I always remind them of that. And then the other thing too is like, this is a weird line to walk, because what I've noticed also that the parks sometimes will use the media credentials as a way. Basically, it's like, I think there's a thin line here. I think it's okay for you to say you're banned because you are breaking park rules, but I have seen people uninvited because of an opinion that they shared. And I think that's a weird line. And so basically, I think that the parks were allured or drawn to these type of influencers because A, views, and it looks good. It's a good metric to present to people to make it seem like you're doing your job. And then B is because generally these people say positive things because they're not there to critically think or to bear witness. Like a journalist is going to try and be factual and try and get multiple opinions and do whatever and report, versus an influencer who is going to just be entertaining. So they're going to like eat the churro and be like, oh my God, it's the best thing I've ever tasted in my entire life, and you have to buy it now. And it's basically just a commercial, right? And that's like, I think we're lured by that thing, and it seems like they have a better ability to shape the narrative.
But that's not what gets views. What gets views are eating that churro on a roller coaster, which is against the regulations. So, I think what's happened, and don't misunderstand me. I actually think we're talking about two different things. One, we are talking about people who come in and blatantly and knowingly break safety rules.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The other side is the actual content based on their experience. Now, if you lose access, if you lose press access, media access, creator access to a park because you share views that are different, I do not support that.
Yeah, that has happened to me. Just so we're on the level.
It has happened. I know it has happened, but I'm saying I that's not what I'm talking about here, and I don't think it's fair to blur the line between the two. One is a safety issue. One is a rule for the park. There is no posted rule that says you have to like everything.
Yep.
That's not a posted rule that the guests have to follow.
Yep.
So, I think that, as you point out, it is a little bit of a slippery slope, but I also think that encouraging content creators, and by not doing anything about it, you are encouraging it. Yep. You are supporting it.
That's right.
I think that is the wrong way to go. And it is something as simple as, yes, we would love to have you come in, say what you want about the park, do what you want about the park. You simply cannot break safety rules or any of the rules and regulations that any other park guest has to follow.
Yeah. I think that's a great line. I guess the reason I was bringing both of them up is just to illustrate how actually difficult the job is, which is back to your point about how it's hard work, because in order to keep that slippery slope from going too far, you have to bake that rule in, and you have to be like, you cannot break the park rules, which means you have to actually watch the content that these people make to make sure they didn't break the rules. And then it means that you can't go the easy route, which is we kind of just don't want to invite people we don't like, or, for whatever, whatever. Right. You have to stick to almost like an ethical code. The ethical code is we don't invite media or creators or influencers or anyone. We don't invite anyone who breaks our rules in the park. That's the code, right? And then, but it just makes the job harder, which,
but I will say there is a way to make it easier too. And that is to work with these people and say, okay, what do you want?
Yeah, that's what I always say.
What do you want to do? Because if you want to do something, me as a park representative, I may be able to make that happen.
That's right.
You want to go out and feed a lion? I may be able to make that happen.
Yeah, especially if it's a guest encounter that you can buy normally, right? And then you get... Even
if it's not, I will take you out there with a trained professional, because what that does is it reinforces how professional we are, and it also gives you the opportunity to do something that none of your other fellow creators can do because you're working with the park.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone says, well, the parks can't get by without content creators because nobody know what the hell's going on at the parks. Well, I can flip that around and say content creators won't have any content if all the parks don't let them in.
Well, they just go somewhere else and do something else, which is fine. Let them go somewhere else.
Which is fine, but
it's fine.
But again, where are you going to find something? They're going to get more and more dangerous until somebody dies.
Yeah. Yes, but
so I think that I think what the park did was right. I think there is a way around it. And I'm not stupid enough to recognize that this stuff is not popular, like ridiculously popular. I'm just hoping that with that in mind, parks can come up with a way to make it so that it doesn't endanger either the creator or the other guests or the employees of the park.
Yep. I agree. Okay, that was Nugget Gate. Okay, we have a few minutes left, so which is fine. We don't need that long for this story. So last week there were several announcements that came out from Six Flags corporate. They have a new CFO and they also have 3 new directors for the board of directors that are on 3-year terms. And I'm just gonna just really condense this. All this is a continuation of the story that we've been talking about. I can't even know for however long. It's like that meme from Scooby-Doo, right? Where it's the gang at the end and Fred is taking the mask off the monster. And it's like, who was it really? It was private equity all along. And that's where we are, which is that Jana, remember that Jana put out that letter a while back where they said that they wanted changes and blah, 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 whatever. This is just their response. So they have replaced the head of the board and they've also replaced the CFO. And both of them have very strong backgrounds in finance, mergers and acquisitions. They're basically just turnaround people. They're people that come in, they turn around, and they get stuff ready for sale. That's it. And so now the balance of the whole board seems to have shifted to people that is in turnaround and in mergers and acquisitions and in that section. And the previous chairman was the only person that really had a background. That was Marilyn Spiegel. She was the only one that really had a background in entertainment. She came from Caesars, and she's kind of literally been demoted. So I think this is all just a continuation of Jana exerting its control over the board. Every senior edition in the past years has pointed to this towards financial engineering and a transaction. And look, whatever it is, I mean, there's so many theories around what is going to happen and what private equity wants and blah, blah, blah. But we know that they have a plan to optimize the portfolio, to trim down more. Whether or not that means they're also going to try and sell the entire thing so that Jana can exit, I don't know at this point. We talk about who could even buy that. Who knows? We don't know. But I'm just saying this is all the same old story. Private equity exerting more control, and the control they're doing is bringing in a lot of people that specialize in financial turnarounds from companies that are not at all entertainment related. So again, it's just Riley against the world, basically. It's him.
Here's the thing. Anybody who thinks that private equity wants to run theme parks, is delusional. Mm-hmm. Private equity wants to make money, and either there's only a limited number of end results. They're either going to build the value of what they have purchased, whether it's a theme park or a concrete manufacturing plant. They're going to build the money or build the worth of what the acquisition is, and either sell it or go public with it. That's what private equity does. That's the name of the game. What I'm hoping is that one of the things that John Riley can do is to convince them, if you want to expand the value of this organization, you got to run it smartly. You have to run it with some intelligent. So he can help bridge that gap between we've just got to make money to, okay, we've just got to make money, but the way to do it is to run the parks really well and get more attendance and get more people to come in and enjoy it and become more committed to the brand and the experience itself.
Right.
That's the challenge. I love it when people say, well, we don't really know what this private equity company wants to do with the park. They want to make money off of it. That's what a private equity company does. And anytime I love it when people talk about theme parks and when they change people. Well, they just didn't like so-and-so because he did this and this, and they just didn't like so-and-so. Here's the real answer. You want to know why somebody changes position or why they replace somebody? Follow the money.
Yep.
Go to the highest source of that money and figure. I mean, this is, as you say, Jana gets what Jana wants.
Yep. And this is what they want. And they wanted Spiegel demoted, and they wanted this new guy put in here, and this new guy is a turnaround specialist. That's what they want.
Yep.
That's it.
Because again, they're clearly trying desperately to make their money back. And
Yep.
that's what that company does. You know,
Yep.
theme parks as a single entity, a theme park, their job is to entertain guests. The company that owns them, their job is to make money.
Yep.
You know, and the way they make money is by buying and selling companies.
Yep.
What they don't take into consideration, or don't always take into consideration, is the best way to increase a company's worth or wealth is to make it run really well.
Yep.
Not just to cut, but to
Well,
make it run.
That's a longer timeline, and
It's a much longer timeline. It's a much longer timeline, but it's also a better payoff.
Yep.
So, anywho, all right, we are out of time. Sorry, we got way buried in Nugget Gate, but God, now I'm going to have to come up with a whole new. You know, first it was spinach espresso. Now I've got to come up with a whole Nugget Gate logo. No, I'm not going to do it. Anyway, guys, once again, thank you for joining us for another week. On behalf of my charming and brilliant co-host, Mr. Philip Hernandez with Gantum Lighting and Control, and myself, Scott Swenson from Scott Swenson Creative Development. This is Green Tag Theme Park in 30, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we will see each and every one of you next week.